ready to go.
Welcome to SSE 3.0 week 4. We are in the 4th week here, still in the root chakra. So super excited to learn about all of your cool birth stories and where you're at in this process. Before we get started today, we're going to be continuing our journey through the root chakra, really solidifying our foundation, talking about 4 different pillars and how to create a safe environment in our homes. So before we do that, I'm going to start by just having you all take some deep breaths, and we're going to create a sacred vessel around our group. So as you're sitting here today, allow yourself to sink in to the surface below you. Close your eyes. Let's just breathe here as a group for a minute. I'm going to count, and I want you to inhale and exhale with me. So we're going to inhale 1, 2, 3. Hold. Exhale 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Hold. Exhale 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Hold. Exhale 3, 2, 1. And as you breathe here, I want you to envision all of your sisters and brothers standing in a sacred circle with you, hands joined in a beautiful golden ring of light spinning around us, holding us in a sacred vessel that contains our energies, only allowing truth, love, and light into this circle, protecting us, keeping us grounded, connected to our source. As you imagine the energy flowing through this vessel, take another deep breath together as a group. 1, 2, 3. Hold. 3, 2, 1. And as you exhale, opening your eyes, coming back to our sacred space, we're going to go into 2-minute check-ins now that we're all breathing as a group. Candace will hold a timer, and just unmute yourself when you're ready to share.
And we do have one new student, and that's Debbie. And so Debbie, during these check-ins, basically it's just to share what might have been going on for you during the week or anything you really like. The 2 minutes is all yours. So we just go in whatever particular order, but everyone shares, and you don't have to take the whole 2 minutes.
I'll share.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So with one of the assignments about talking to family members about my birth, I've come to realize it was way different than I thought. And since I've learned that my grandparents and my aunt and my dad was all at the hospital, something's shifted in me. And it's just so cool. And I keep going, I am so loved. And there's people coming to me at work going, you are loved. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And so it's just been really cool. Because when I was born, dads weren't allowed inside the room, but he was outside pacing and everybody was excited. And I thought because he was military, he was gone and abandoned or not present, but he was fully present. And I don't know, it was awesome.
Yay, thank you, hun. I mean, it definitely does change it, because now it releases that story and gives you a new light of like, wow, I am loved, I am cared for, people are there for me. That's awesome. Who's next?
I can go. Can you hear me
Thank
okay?
you.
Okay. So I interviewed a family member. My family doesn't talk about our stories. And so I interviewed a family member and found that patterns in our family are very similar as far as relationship patterns. And my grandmother's father had two families. He had a family in Washington and a family in Oregon, and he was married to both. And just kind of um, he just left my great grandma and went off and married this other woman and had a family. And so it's just like, but that has cycled down through that side of the family, and lots of I guess it's probably not the traditions that we were supposed to look for, but that's pretty much like alcoholism, and it just has all cycled down. So it was really interesting to see that.
Good awareness. And now you can clear that. No
Yeah.
longer moving through your line.
Yeah, that's something we can talk about even more further later.
Yeah. I will see you after this class.
Yep.
Thank you. Who's next?
I'll go.
Thanks, Adam.
Wow, this week has been pretty interesting as far as I'm definitely feeling a lot more grounded. All of a sudden, all these feelings and intuition, and I think really seeing the truth in every person and every situation has really been eye-opening. And, Michaela and Candace helping me realize that this is what we're doing, and actually this is grounding. And I know you guys, it's been hard for me to actually ground, but it feels great, and I'm just really enjoying this process, and excited to keep diving down this road. Thanks.
Yay. So proud of you. Awesome. Thank you.
I'll go.
Thanks, Marty.
Actually, I'll talk about my birth story, actually. So I wrote it on the Facebook wall that I was adopted, actually, so I don't know the exact birth story, but I do know the story of how I came to my parents. They had adopted 3 other children, and they had decided, that was enough. And I was born on December 5th, and on the 15th, they get a call asking if they'd be willing to take. Regardless how I got there, I was welcomed with open arms. And even though they're not my biological parents, they told us right away, and none of us ever really had any sort of feeling of being different in that respect. So, I know there's other things there to work on with the whole adoption thing that maybe I didn't even realize was within me, but we'll see how that goes. I don't have any, harbor any resentments that I'm conscious of anyway. So that's me.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad you have a loving family.
Me too.
Everyone's got to go.
Are we talking about our birth story? I'm sorry, I was a little bit.
No, this is just 2-minute check-in. So whatever you want to share, it can be that, or it doesn't have to be that.
Oh, okay. So I did call my mom about the birth story, and it was just like super triggering because she just went into her own hurt and things. And so, yeah, I was like really trying to steer her back to like, okay, can we come back to like, where, so some of the things I did not know about my birth and stuff. And yeah, so that was pretty interesting to learn about the climate that was going on and stuff. And then it makes sense about how I am to kind of see that, and to know that. I was actually born at the same time of my mom's birthday. So her birthday's on the 26th, and I was born at 5/26. So I always wonder, like, what's up with that? Like, are we like super connected or something? So, but anyways, yeah. So, and I've had a great week. I mean, I've spent a couple days in bed, so I'm just learning how to just be, and that's something I just have never been, privy to do. So I was excited to just be in my pajamas and do nothing.
Awesome. Thank you. And, it's interesting when you share, ask for your birth story and your mom has her hurts. It's just to be wow, like that is something she probably never got to express to somebody. So you're hearing firsthand, like, because we jump, she probably never said it. So she's coming from that perspective at that moment. So that's what the energy was during the time of the womb. So powerful to see it and actually witness where she was at that time through your conversation.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey guys, I'll chime in. Hey, I have. I guess I'll go a little bit off topic from your guys' update. But this week, past 2 weeks, really, I've been transitioning into a new home, and with my two children and my sister, and dealing with or managing through the experience of releasing a lot of old things that I didn't realize I was holding on to. Physical things that I had held on to that weren't necessarily visible to me, but like were tucked away in corners and boxes that hadn't been opened for years, and photos and keepsakes that really no longer resonate with who I am now. So I've been managing through that, and it's been good, but overwhelming and really exhausting. Um, but ultimately, kind of like at the end of every week, on a Friday or on a Saturday, I feel a little bit better. I feel a little bit lighter. I feel a little bit more trusting of myself. Um, I've been really hampered down by work. Like just gonna kill you type of work if you keep letting it go this way. And I have a sister friend who got Bell's palsy in the same work environment that I'm in right now. And it's the second time she's kind of pulled me aside and been like, slow down, take on less, ask for help, because you can't do this. I've done this. And I listened to her. And today on a call we were on today, I accepted help. And I felt good about that. And she gave me some positive affirmations. So growing on my journey. Thank you.
Yay. I'm so glad you're listening. So important.
I guess I'll go next. Oh, forgot. Sorry. These last couple of days have been hard. Finally got out of a mild depression I was in, and finally finished cleaning my room and cleaning my car. So now I feel a lot better. Still transitioning her into sleeping by herself, so that's been kind of hard. But other than that, life has been good, I guess. I finally figured out my life path career. I'm gonna be a doula. So I just got done writing my 2020 to 2021, and two of them were become a doula with a good starting clientele, like a small, and then by 2021 I want to have like a really big clientele. So now it's just having to find the right trainings. And my doula that I had for my daughter, she has some connections to jobs. So once I'm done with everything, I'm gonna hit her up and we're just gonna get started, because 20 is a young age, but I'm ready to just jump into life. I'm tired of games. So I just can't wait for that journey to happen.
Yay, thank you so much for sharing. I actually have a really good doula friend, and she's been a doula for a long time, and I'll see if I can connect you two.
That would be appreciated. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'll go next.
Thanks, Astra.
Just a small little thing to say that I just feel like the last 2 weeks I felt more equipped to handle and manage like how I feel and how and what I'm going through. So I feel like I have these techniques now that I can draw to, including like journaling and grounding. So even though I feel like I've like it's been hard saying goodbye to old ways of me, I feel like it's been easier to cope and move through it instead of falling back into old ways. It's been helpful. I'm grateful.
Yay. And you look super shiny today. Okay, we have Anna, Tway, and Debbie and Christina still left. And Michelle.
All right, I'll go. So this week, I feel like I felt a little off. Not quite sure. I think because I was really triggered by last classes. You know, like what we learned about last class. I think I was just really like nervous. You know, talking to my mom. So that's something that I struggle with. I still need to meet with one of you. But this week I've just been more like out and about, kind of just, I went hiking this morning, so that made me feel good. I've been paddleboarding, so yeah, just been out and like getting active, and yeah, it's been good. So
Thank you, Anna, for sharing. I can feel a lot of the emotional turmoil coming through you. So, you know, reach out, let us know how we can support you.
Okay, I can go next. This week, a lot of old memories came up for me, and I have been evaluating old relationship with people, especially friends, and an old an old love interest that I had, and I was finally able to let go of that and move on. And that was pretty much it for the week for me.
Nice. Way to go to let go. I mean, everyone's like releasing. Woo! Good job.
I'll go.
Thank you.
So I sent Anna a text earlier this week because this week's been a little bit tougher for me, and I'm not exactly sure. I haven't been able to pinpoint why, but there's been a lot of change for me this week. So that's probably what it is. I had a great composting exercise with Anna yesterday that brought up a couple of things for me that I'm going to work on this weekend. But my text that I sent her was just that, like a little recap on how I've been feeling since I've been doing this work, and especially since I've been in this class. I'm feeling my emotions on higher highs and lower lows than I've ever felt before. And I find myself grasping for that like calm, even keeled life that I used to have, even though it wasn't really going anywhere. But I do feel myself like wanting to grab onto that and wanting to feel that comfort. And so what I texted Anna is that in the choice to evolve and grow and learn, it's not comfortable. The comfort was in the knowing. I'm not in the knowing anymore. I'm in the unknowing and the learning and the growing, and I have to remind myself of that. But these high and low swings is so and I'm a Libra. I don't know if that plays into it at all, but I like balance. And and this high and low really kind of throws me every once in a while. I have to really grab on to being okay with not being comfortable. So that's where I'm at this week. And thank you, Anna, for being there for me, because it made a big difference. You made a big difference. Thank you.
Yay, thank you for your share. Yeah, grounding is not fun. Coming into your body and living is not fun in the beginning, because we're going into a crazy roller coaster ride, but then it begins to get fun when you understand it better. So thank you for sharing that. We still have Courtney, Christina, and Debbie.
I guess I'll go.
Thank you.
I've done a lot of the homework, which has been really good for me because I've reflected a lot just on my marriage, on my dad, who ended up showing up at my house last week. I actually told him off. His son, my half brother, actually tried to get into contact with me. I told him off. And even my grandmother yesterday from Florida, who I have not seen or spoken to in close to 30 plus years, even left a voice message. I blocked her. So I'm setting a lot of boundaries, which is good for me. And today celebrates 10 years being separated. So from my ex-husband. So it's, to me, 10 months is huge because I'm running for my third promotion in my business. The business has helped a lot, but also even just doing the homework has helped a lot as well, even more so because my mother and I have become closer since my father has actually shown up. After the last time I saw him was like 10 years. So even my mother and I are become closer because of him showing up. And
Oh, we lost her. Oh, Wi-Fi. We'll have her.
and letting me release a lot of
Oh.
those.
So we missed the last 10 seconds of what you were saying, but
Basically letting me release a lot of the anger and a lot of the frustration, and it's getting me closer to my mother.
awesome. Thank you, Courtney. Lots of changes in you. And yeah, we are busy with your homework. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Christina or Debbie, if you guys are in a place to share.
I think Debbie's ready. She might need to be unmuted though.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you.
Right. Hi, everybody. It's nice to meet you. I'm excited to be part of this group and looking forward. It's kind of funny, you know, you're like meeting new people and trying to figure out what kind of people in the little tiny square that you represent to me. And also, I want you to know I have very, very bad Wi-Fi. I've got to do something about that. So if you see me making funny puzzled faces, it's because I've dropped out. And a lot of what you had to say is so interesting, but I could hear maybe 50%. I don't know how much you know about each other, what you'd like to know about me. I'll just say that I'm happy to be part of this group and looking forward to learning and growing with you in the next year.
Yay. Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate you. Happy you're here. And Christina, I don't know if you're in a space to share. There you are.
Hello.
Hi.
Sorry, guys, I'm packing to my hotel. So I was listening and buying myself as much time to go last. So what's been going on with me for the week is I'm down in California right now, visiting with my fiance's family, bringing my kids to meet his dad and some of his family. So it's been really cool to kind of connect with my family and his family. With that happening, I've also reached out to my dad, which has been great and then not so great. There's still some healing that has to take place. And so sometimes the conversations don't go so smoothly. Sometimes when you're going through the healing process and you're not wanting to bring up old things, but just to kind of gain a little bit of understanding of where someone's mind or heart was, so that you can sometimes get closure or healing. So I had to kind of walk down that journey. And then with me being in Arizona, I was actually able to kind of just kind of untie myself and go out in the outdoors and just kind of get a lot of alone time, of which I feel like I've neglected the group a little bit, and just kind of connect and reflect with myself. So there's been a lot of peace, but then also when you're reflecting inside, you know, there's that emotional state. I won't necessarily say confusion, but just very emotional. Not to the point of where I've been, you know, crying or anything like that, just kind of like in a deep reflective place. So that's kind of where I've been at this week in my emotions.
Awesome. I love hearing that, because that's what it's all about, is to go inward. You know, the group is here, you know, for each one of you to receive support, but honestly, this is your journey. And it's important to take that time for yourself, whatever that looks like. We're going to be here for the whole year.
I appreciate that.
Excellent. Great shares. I'm really excited to start hearing a lot of you really allow those vulnerable spots to come out. So really proud of each and every one of you for doing so much already in just a month. So yay, congratulations. All righty, I'm just gonna change the view here. Give me a second. So as we're in root chakra, you know, we've looked at our families and what that looks like. We've looked at survival energy, and we began to understand, like, oh, where am I as opposed to where's the family? Like, because sometimes we can't connect to them anymore. It's like it doesn't work. They don't fit who we are, especially, you know, their tribal beliefs and energies. And like, we don't want to live from that survival energy anymore, whether it be working hard or, you know, in poverty or whatever it is, right? So we're now moving into a space of like standing on our own 2 feet. And we're trying to gain our footing, but it's a little wobbly, right? We're like the babies trying to learn how to walk again. And so we got to strengthen our legs and get grounded. So I just want to remind you that it is so important during this time to really practice grounding, whether it be, you know, wearing the colors of earthy tones or reds, or eating like nice root vegetables and potatoes and things like that, or even just sitting on the grass, especially right now where it's super green everywhere, and just laying there and allowing, you know, Mother Earth to hold you. Because this is that nurturing foundational part where when we build our root chakra, everything else can like be stacked on top and like hold, right? When everything is on a strong foundation, there's no like wolf blowing it down, right? So we're going to talk about our 4 foundational pillars. And what that is mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. And these are the cornerstones of what's called our evolution of consciousness, okay? So I want you to imagine like a pyramid, and then at its base is the square. And each of those corners are these 4 pillars. And basically when they're all operating on 100%, they reach to this pinnacle, and that's the level of awareness that we can tune into, that then gives us this opportunity to begin to see from higher heights and to acknowledge things from like our divine selves and who we are. But if one of those pillars, especially the foundation's not strong, we're gonna be like shooting off to the side or this side or back or front, right? So we could be like to the right, which is super aggressive about life, like hustle, go, do. Or we could go to the left and be very passive and like kind of watch the world go by as our like ideas and our dreams are like, nah, maybe tomorrow, whatever, right? Or we can go to the back, like towards the past, basically like trying to gain our footing from the past that actually doesn't work for us. And many of you are releasing right now. Or we can go too far forward into the future and like running, like going after this idea, but it's not who we are or what we are. So we want to work on these 4 foundational pillars so that we can really gain a very good stronghold of our lives and understand who we are. Now, let me share with you what each of those pillars are. So physical is your relationship to your body and your energy and your breath of life. It's everything that is this physical form. So how are you taking care of your body via nourishing yourself with foods, exercise? Are you breathing? Like I know a lot of us breathe very shallow, especially because we're just running through the day. Or are you allowing yourself to really catch your breath and take in the goodness and vitality of life, right? And how is your energy? Like a lot of times our energy levels are just super wonky, but that also is a clue of like, how are we taking care of ourselves? So the physical is really all about taking care of ourselves. So this form that we have right here, right now, is operating optimally. Because if you're feeling good, you look good, you're just going to be on top of the world and you're ready to conquer anything, right? Okay, so next we are, now actually I want you to just think about it for a moment, and you can comment in the chat, is at this moment in time, what percentage do you think you are in your physical pillar? It's 0 to 100. Just think about it. Just think about it. If you want, and then put it in the chat, and then we're going to continue, okay? So the second one is emotional. Emotional is all about our relationships and how we handle our emotions. So a lot of times those that we are in relationship with will trigger us, right? And that triggers our emotions, and then we're like all over the place. Like I even had some bouts this week because our other class is actually in 4th chakra, and that was like my major wounding. And it's literally coming up for me again. And I'm like, whoa, I have not had this feeling for a long time. And I want to fight. I want to blame. I want to project. And it was really intense. And so to manage my emotions, like I have this awesome book that I read, and it's like, it was actually the right, perfect spot where I can like understand things, right? And it's all about like forgiveness of myself, forgiveness of the other, and not trying to control, because I have no authority over what someone else does. All I can control is my own feelings. And that person is giving me a wonderful, you know, awareness of where I'm still in not healed. So instead of blaming and shaming and like going off the Richter scale, I was like returned in and just took stock of my own energy and began to send myself love. And because of that, I am way good today. I messaged Nikayla and I was like, I am so in it, but now I'm good. So that's me managing my emotional pillar, right? So, and just know that relationships are there to support you in a way to see what is there, or give you a mirror of yourself, of where you could be or where you want to be. That's the beautiful coincidence of relationships with anyone you meet. So by managing yourself and how you respond and not controlling them, you know, you begin to just become aware of yourself. And that's this beautiful emotional pillar that we have. So what does your emotional pillar look like? 1 to 100%. Okay, the next one we're going to go to is our mental. And mental is not just our thoughts, because our thoughts have like wonderful ideas, and it brainstorms, it gives us like these energies of like, oh, I want to create this and that. It's also like our career. It's our way to contribute to the world. Like we've grown up with these abilities and skills and talents and learnings. And so we put it all together in our mind and we're like, this is what I want to create. Like what Bria was saying, like, I know I want to create being a doula and having a, an awesome company that way, right? So this is our way of like contributing to the world and being of service to everyone. Now, if you're someone that's like a mother and just stay at home, that's also being contributing to the world, because you're raising beautiful kids and you're giving to them, your ideas, your beliefs, your mind, so that they can harness it into the world. And if you're just by yourself, you probably have amazing friends and family that you send out ripples of energy to, right? So just by being you in this mental pillar, how you present yourself to others, right? How you share your truth and your vulnerability and your heart. This is all mental energy. It's like being, the person that is sharing wisdom or inspiring others. This is all mental energy. So go ahead and share in that pillar in the comment what % you think that is for you. And then the last pillar is the spiritual pillar. And this one is connection to the earth, to the sun, the stars, to God, to your highest self committee, to your guides. It's everything that is, right? The universe. And as we focus on like harnessing that connection, doing rituals or prayer or, connecting with God in some way, shape, or form, that gives us this beautiful pillar that is strengthening us. It's the support that gives to us during this time of our lives here. And oftentimes, like I know a lot of people don't work on that, and they just go off on their own. They rely on their own mental capacities and they're like, I'm gonna do this. But, that comes a lot from ego, where we're not allowing ourselves to see that there is support and there might be a bigger plan for you that you might not even see. So you're hustling your way up and you're forgetting that someone else has a really good map for you that's already drawn out, which is more with ease and flow. So taking a look at that pillar now, like how have you taken time for yourself to connect in, via oracle cards or whatever it is that you do, go to church, just give me a number on your pillars. Okay, I'm going to look in the chat now. Awesome. So a lot of them are definitely above the 50% region. That's great. Nobody's not at it like 100%. Excellent. Astra 30. Good to know. And so what I'm going to share with you is, because a lot of times, like, we're just thinking about this, right? Maybe gathering our evidence of what we've done or did throughout the week, and we've come up with these numbers. Now, I'm just going to share with you, a lot of these are overinflated. Not that it's a bad thing. We just think we are doing these things when we're actually not. So I just want to put that out there, because when you have a session with me, we will take a look at your numbers to really gauge to see what they are. And because then you know which pillar to really work on. So now how you build this foundation is when you look at the ones that are like really high up, like you don't need to work on those, like continue doing what you're doing, but the ones that are lower, like that's where you want to give some energy to. Like, so Astra, the spiritual part of yourself, right? So, take more time out in nature, or doing more prayers, or anything that would really like connect you more in, like being silent and meditating. That's like something that begins to boost it, because right now you're like tilting. So pick the two that are the lowest and start giving your attention there, so you can start balancing yourself out. Because I work with a lot of clients that are very mental, right? They do mental and physical. Like that's the two that most people always do. It's just because, we have our minds and we have our bodies. So let's run with it. So they forget about their emotional, they forget about their spiritual. And guess what happens? Like their relationships start to fall apart. And they're like, well, I was working, I was doing everything that I could do. I took care of my body, but then like my wife's unhappy. The kids are like pissed off at me. Like I thought I was doing well, right? You weren't, because you weren't focused on that area. You forgot about it. You thought that it was taking care of itself with like overinflated answers. Okay. And then oftentimes with the spiritual being low, like I was telling you earlier, it's just they're running like 100 miles an hour in literally the wrong direction. And then they get there and they're like, well, I didn't want to be a lawyer. That was my mom's dream. And well, why the hell am I over here? Like, this is not the life I was looking at, right? I always think of that song where it's like, this isn't my beautiful house. This isn't my beautiful wife. You know, as the days go by. So anyway, but that's the thing, is we're like starting to see like, okay, wait a minute. Like, what am I focused on? What can maintain the same? And then the other ones start boosting up. Now, if there are 3 of them that are low and ones that like are like that, begin to like calm that one down. I know with Keisha, she's like realizing like, I need to just be, right? So bring that down a little so that the others can rise up and equilibrate. And then that way, guess what? All of these pillars operating together will then begin to form this energy level of consciousness, which gives you the opportunity to see things from a very equal playing field and helps you to like understand your place, your role in the world around you. Okay. So I just want to come to you really quickly. Does anyone have questions on this or even want to share about this foundational piece? Okay, awesome. Now, some of you I've had sessions with, and we didn't do this because there was some, trauma stuff we had to work through. But if you want to do this in the next session, we can. And then, but if you want to do it on your own, be honest and real with yourself. And then just jot down some things like that you can actually start doing. Like, I need to go for walks more, or I need to eat healthy. Like I've been doing where, like this whole COVID, I had a health crisis. Like I wasn't taking care of my health. That was like out the door for me. I was like spiritual, emotional, but physical was like, so I got a health crisis. And now I'm like, okay, I've got to do something. Otherwise, this is just not going to be a happy body. So thankfully, before COVID, before I could binge eat on everything, I started drinking more water. I got on the paleo diet, and then I allow myself like 1 cheat meal a month. And that just is for me to enjoy. And now I'm like excited when that day comes, and my husband and I just lay it all out on the ottoman, and I'm like, and happy. So that way I don't deny myself. So just know that you can be obviously flexible with each of these pillars. It's not like you have to be this way. It's like, have fun with it. The more fun, the better. Because otherwise you're taking yourself too seriously, which then feeds the mental pillar. And then you're just like, you're thinking like, this is the way it should be because Candace said. But you are your own authority. You have your own choices. And whatever you decide to do is for you, not for me, because this is for your life and how you want to raise in your elevation of consciousness. Okay. Awesome. If there's no questions, I'll go ahead and turn the floor to Nikayla.
Awesome. Just gonna make sure none of you are raising your hand really quick. Okay. Cool. So thank you, Candace. As you get in touch with these different pillars, let us know what's coming up for you. We can always go through this during our sessions and really map out a game plan of how we can improve each of them. Okay. So we're going to transition now to getting really deep into the foundational level of the first chakra. We've examined our birth stories. We've looked at kind of our familial history. Now we're going to come into our own personal homes and our lives. Okay. So we're gonna look at a lot of things in our actual home situations, like our physical homes. And I want you guys to be very observant this next week of what kind of space you're creating for yourself. And if you even have a space of your own to call yours in your home that is just for you. And the reason that this is so important is because in order for us to have a safety within ourselves and to find a sacred connection within ourselves, we have to create a physical space to be able to learn and grow. So if you're short on space, that's okay. Today we're going to go into how we make altars and things like that, so you can create a small physical space to call your own. Preferably, it's a space large enough for you to go sit and have some quiet time in, for you to find safety and sanctuary in after a hard day at work, or when you just need space for a friend or family member. It doesn't have to be in your home. And Marty, I'm just going to share a little bit of your personal life really quick. I know Marty has a spot he goes to, and it's changed once since we've been seeing each other, but he's always found a spot somewhere around his neighborhood or house where he can go to just be with himself and think. So really having a physical place for you to go and process some of this homework, to connect to God, to ground into the earth, is something we're going to be asking you to do before next week's class. Your homework is going to actually be to have an altar set up at your home so that you can have a place to go and connect with your guides, connect with yourself, connect with source. And we're going to be sharing those altars on our Facebook group via picture. So I want you guys all just to share really quick. You don't all have to share, but if you don't, or if you do have a place to call your own, just tell us a little bit about it. And I'm only going to do 30 seconds so that we're conscientious of time, but I do want to hear from you.
Well, I'll go first since you called me out. So yeah, my spot has changed a couple times, and my last place was in this park right across from my apartment. And when I moved, I had to find another place that I really connected to energetically. And there's this pond that's a few miles away, and I pass by there every day. And when I stop, and I can even just sit in my car and stare at it, and it's just like the energy this place gives me while I go through my gratitudes or prayers or whatever is just really intense, really calming. It gives me so much peace.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing. Michelle?
Okay. Actually, when you first started talking about that, it really stressed me out. One of the things that's changed is my oldest son and his daughter moved in. So now we have even less space in our home, but super happy about it. But so Nikayla, you know what I'm talking about. My first thought went to the chimney with the bench around it. So I'm gonna go check that out.
Beautiful. Awesome. I love that spot. So much good energy there.
And thanks for the idea of having it outside the house. I would have never thought of that. So thanks.
Super helpful. Anybody else want to share? And it's okay if you don't have one, you can share that too. Go ahead, Ashley.
Mine is definitely my car.
Oh, your car.
Yeah, my car.
I love it. Good. Go ahead, Astra.
At my old apartment, I had a really nice private spot on the beach that I would go to. But since moving, I haven't found a new place. So that's a good point. I need to find that place, maybe outside the home.
Beautiful. Okay, good shares. So the reason that this is so important, like I said, is so that you can show yourself that you're worthy to take up space, that you deserve to have a place in this world of your own. The reason we know this is so important, we actually had a woman in one of our classes who didn't have anything, any place to have her own. She had a beautiful house. She had her bedroom. She had space, but none of it was just hers. between her husband and her kids, everything had been touched or was imposed on by another human. And she couldn't get grounded, she couldn't process, and it's because she didn't have a place to go and retreat. And so this is a really important part of this process. You are worth it. It is important. So I'm going to really encourage you all to all create this. And it doesn't matter what it looks like. Like I said, it can be a room or it can be a small little shelf. Candace and I will be posting examples. You can have tons of different kind of altars. And I'll actually show you, because I actually have 3 altars in this room that I'm in. So here's a couple example. This shelf right here is one of my altars. It has things that are sacred to me on it. It's a place where I come, and this is the altar that I use for my business. So I come here and I sit in front of this on my meditation pillow and I talk about my business. This is my crystals, and I place them here and I create different grids with them for different moons or different things that I'm going through. And then over here is the place where I pray and connect with my guides. And then of course I have one in my bedroom where it's all my personal stuff, pictures of my kids, my oils, things that are really sacred to me. So your altar can look like anything. It can be a shelf on a wall, it can be a closet, it can be an entire room, but it's a place that you can call your own. Does anyone have questions about the altar assignment or creating your own altar? Cool. We're going to use them for a lot of things. Candace is going to teach us a money ritual later that you can use your altar for. And there's tons of different gods and goddesses that we talk about throughout this class that you can get figurines of and place them on your altar. So it's a really great foundational tool to have. So aside from our actual physical space and our structure, what we have in it, I want you to look around your house and just take a minute if you are in your house and you can look around you. Because our house is actually, and our cars too, are an extension of us, of our spirits. And if you live with many people, it's an extension of all of your spirits, right? So I want you to look around you. Are there clutter spots? Is there dirt? Is it immaculate? Is everything so organized that there is no room for mess? What does it look like in your home? And what does that say about you and the energy and environment that you're creating for yourself? We're really going to be observing the different energies and beliefs that we're bringing into our home by the way we show up. If you have a lot of dirtiness and clutter, guess what there probably is in your mind? A lot of clutter. And if there's little pockets of stuff, you probably have little pockets in your mind, your body, and your spirit, right? If everything is so immaculate and in order, you probably have a very rigid system and structure that you live by as far as rules and boundaries and the way you show up, right? And so I really want you this week to not only look at your environment, but to start making tiny little changes that reflect the work you're doing here. To just one baby step a day. Maybe it's one little drawer. I had a client 2 years ago who was a hoarder, and she worked with me for 1.5 years, and all she did is one task a day. And her house went from unwalkable to completely immaculate and organized. But it didn't take her a month. It didn't take her 3 months. It took her 1.5 years. And at the end of the 1.5 years, her body, her emotions, and her energies had caught up to the physical changes she made. Because a lot of times what people will do is they'll have like the spring cleaning or something like that, and they'll go crazy and everything will be clean. And then their system gets shocked by all the change and they'll go into this contraction, right? Or a very rigid, uptight person might decide to allow some pillows or blankets to be a different color, to not fit the rigid decorative pattern that they have in their house, right? They might allow their kids to leave toys out a little bit more, and all of a sudden it starts to shock their system. So every change we make, we go very slow and we do one tiny gradual change every day, right? And the one that Candace always encourages people to change, and I absolutely love this, is changing the roll of your toilet paper, the way that it spins. That's one tiny change, right? And some of you are like, oh, fuck no, I'm not going to do that. But doesn't that tell you like how rigid your mind is, that just one tiny little thing in our house can make us feel so safe and so supported, like the way that our toilet paper sits? So I really want you to think about this and look at this and start to create a different sort of energy in your house. Okay. And you can speak to your house too. You can ask your house, and you can feel the energy as you walk through your house and say, where doesn't it feel right? Where do I get stressed when I walk into my house? Where do I feel open and spacious? Where do I have the best conversations with God? And how can I bring more of that into every corner of my house, right? So now that we have looked at the physical cleanliness, let's talk about energetic cleanliness in our houses. Raise your hand if you have sage or Palo Santo at home. If you're my client, I know you do. Awesome. So I want everyone to get some sage or Palo Santo. If you are going to order it online, let Candace or I send you a link of some ones that we buy. Otherwise, most metaphysical shops have really good quality sage and Palo Santo. So trust yourself there. But energetic cleansing of our house is very based on intentions. Okay, you don't just light the sage or the Palo Santo and wave it around and your house is miraculously cleaned energetically, right? But it's about the intention that we move through it with. My daughter speaks a mantra out loud, only allowing love, light in. I personally just go by the feeling, and I intend, as I wave my Palo or sage around, I intend good energy. I see the bad energy leaving, and I really intentionally energetically cleanse my house. So we'll include some more instructions in the homework about how to sage or Palo Santo your house. But if you're noticing maybe your kids having nightmares or you not sleeping well or just like an unease or anxiousness within your home, I would recommend doing this. Our family does it every full moon, very ritualistically, but then if we have guests or if there's been an argument or a lot of bad energy, we also do it then as well. So listen to yourself. But if you have a lot of upheaval and emotion in your life, being able to energetically cleanse it as you're physically cleansing it helps your soul feel safer there. It just gets all of the bad energy out of the walls of your home. Okay, does anyone have questions? I know I'm throwing a ton at you in this section, but it's very informational. Any questions on that? Okay, so we've looked at the physical cleanliness and the energetic cleanliness. Now let's look at the emotional cleanliness or structure of our home. And this is where I want you to look at the foundational culture, the environment that you've created in your home, whether you have children or a spouse or roommates. This is extremely important. And if you haven't done so already, I encourage you to hold a household meeting where you sit down together and you ask, how do we want to feel in our home? What do we want to experience in our home? How do we feel safest in our home, and what doesn't feel safe in our home? I do this with my own children, and we all have a voice, and we talk about the culture that we want to develop. And this is so important with married couples, with roommates, with anything, because if you can solidify the way that you want to emotionally be in your home with others, for example, no harsh tones or yelling, that's an amazing rule. If you're going to yell or have a harsh conversation, take it outside of the home and take a breath before engaging in it, right? Certain kinds of music or TV shows maybe you don't want to bring energetically. I have a rule with my husband. We agreed, because he loves watching the news and I don't, we agreed that until 11 a.m. no TV would be turned on in our house. And if there was news on, that we ask permission of whoever's in the room, are you okay watching this right now? Because I'm very triggered by television. And so those are rules that we came up together with to make sure our home felt safe for everyone. Does everyone understand kind of where I'm going with this? Okay, so intentionality within our homes, within our environment is, again, so important. It's really easy to think all of these thoughts and have all these great ideas, but what we forget to do as humans is communicate, right, with the other people around us. And if we can just simply say, hey, I really don't feel safe when you're cursing down the hallway when you get frustrated at a football game. It really makes my energy spike. Do you think you could do that in your man cave, or could you go out to a restaurant with your friends when you watch the game, right? There's always different compromises that we can come up with to make our home safe for us and the other people in it. And it's conversations about the way you talk to each other, the way you treat each other, the foods that you eat, and who takes care of the chores. The more that we have communication and structure around this first chakra, the more stable and secure we feel. Especially when you have children in your home. They love structure, not crazy structure, right? But decided upon community structure so that they know what's happening when. And our adult minds actually really crave that too. So if you're looking for any sort of grounding, right, or finding safety in this kind of tumultuous first chakra, ritual and structure are going to be really key. Which brings me to my last part of this, is our spiritual cleanliness. And I'm not talking, when I say cleanliness, I do feel a couple of spikes in a couple of your bellies. Cleanliness has nothing to do with being pure or anything like that. I'm just saying cleanliness because it's an easy word to describe this, okay? So it doesn't mean you're dirty. It doesn't mean anything like that. When I say spiritual cleanliness, I'm talking more about what kind of rituals and structures do you have around your spirituality? Is it on your priority list? Or is it the last thing you do if you have time at the end of the day? Do you have time set aside every day to connect with yourself, with your own body, with God? Or is it just whenever you feel like it or whenever times are hard? I talked about this yesterday in our soul gathering, but really creating ceremony and ritual around your own relationship with yourself in these sacred moments, whether it's from brushing your teeth to washing your hair or bathing your children or cooking your dinner, making it into ceremonial, ritualistic, sacred time, right? How often do you just throw some mac and cheese on, or top ramen, or a really quick microwave dinner or whatever, and you're like, call it good, instead of intentionally cutting your vegetables and cooking your food with love, right? Or when you're in the shower, as you connect with your body, are you being grateful for not only the warm running water in the home that you're living in, but are you connecting to yourself as you touch yourself, as you clean yourself? Or is it so mundane and ingrained in your head that it's a quick scrub and you're out and you're brushing your teeth while you're brushing your hair and going about on your day, right? So as I talk about spiritual cleanliness, I'm calling all of you to really look at your life and take an inventory of the structures and systems you have in place in your own home, right? And the way that you're modeling your own spirituality for yourself and the others, right? Because we're all here healing ourselves and we're healing our families as well. And as our children and our kids and our roommates and our partners see us creating our own self-care rituals and routines, they're going to want to do the same without us asking, right? They're going to see our change. They're going to see our peace. They're going to see the way we interact with the world. And they're going to want that for themselves. So as you look at the spiritual pillars that Candace went over, also look at those same pillars in your home and how you can really clean up and prioritize your home as a foundational structure. Okay, I know that was a ton. Don't do it all at once. All you perfectionists, don't go freak out and get your house all in order. It's okay wherever you're at. Baby steps. This is simply for awareness. So before Candace takes us into our next topic, let's just take a big deep breath in and let's really loudly just and we're going to do this one more time. And when you exhale, just shake your head and wiggle your jaw and let's really let it out. In through your nose. And just let it all out. Good. All right, Candace. Now they're all triggered for you. Go ahead.
I love these things. I mean, really what it is, it's just getting your foundation in order. And, with that, because think about it, sometimes our families did not have enough time to do these things or teach us these things. They sound super simple, and they are, but our adult minds are like, I got to do all these things. Take it slow. Like this should have been taught to you from like, 5 to 13, right? But most of us were maybe latchkey kids or busy with all our sports and activities. So this is us going, I can take care of myself. And this is, remember, we're baby steps. We're baby, spiritual, wonderful human beings learning how to live a new life. So that's what this foundational piece is. Okay, so we are literally switching gears and we're going into the energy of money, because part of the root chakra is this ability to have. And we want to have money, we want to have prosperity, we want to have like things, because that's the beauty of our world. We have things that are just tangible. We can touch them, we can smell it, and everyone's has these wonderful skills to create things. And so we have these things that we can exchange and barter for or buy or give, whatever it is. And sometimes, with that being said, we have this feeling like when we have to give right away, and we don't want to keep it, right? But so root chakra is this ability to have. So Nikayla is going to talk about learning how to understand your wealth consciousness and how you think about money. But I'm going to give you a little bit about like giving you like some rituals to do around money that I do. And it's important because then you build the relationship with money. We're going to talk more about that in second chakra. But for now, I want you to begin to look at your relationship with money. Like, are you someone that gives it away, or do you hold it really tightly and don't use it for anything and don't splurge on yourself when you actually have more than enough money? I want you to begin to like even look at money. Like many of you don't even have cash on hand anymore because it's just the card, right? So now that we have this new form of money, which is in the form of a card, like really like looking at this card, right? I'm going to just pull up my own money. Give me a sec. Okay. So I just got paid the other day, so I'm really excited. So we're looking at money, and I want you to begin to just touch and feel it. I want you to like just observe it. It's like, wow. And even feel the energy of it, because guess what? It's been passed to like through thousands of hands, right? And so the beauty of this ritual that I'm going to teach you is it gives you this opportunity to bless the money, which then blesses the thousands of hands that actually reach it, which then gives them this like sensation of like awareness of money. So as you like, if you ever have cash or your cards, I want you to begin to bless it, to just begin to be very conscious and aware of it. So what I do is I take an oil, and I'm going to use Joy today. This is a Young Living. This is a company that I love and know and trust. They are pretty pricey, but I have money to buy it. So what I do is I take the money, and on the back it says, "In God I trust." Now, whether you believe in God or the universe or however that is, just acknowledging this power source that gives us this wonderful thing to buy different things, to enjoy it in this time of our life. So we're not just without, we're like literally allowing the ability to have. So you take the oil and you literally touch your hand to "In God I trust." I say, "In God I trust." And you just say, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." And then you put it on your altar. Now you do that with every piece of bill that you have. And I do this every time with all the money I make. And it's funny, it's 11:11 here, so I'm blessing my money. Woo-hoo. And you just bless it all, put it on your altar, and you literally leave it on your altar just for an evening. Don't use it. And what that means is like you're not frantically like on the run to like go spend it or pay for something. You're giving it this opportunity to just be in your life, right? Allow it to just be with you. Like you're sitting with your partner in the room. It's like, be with them, be with your money. So it's like having the money. Okay, so you want to bless all your money, put it on your altar, and just give it to God. And then that way you're not spending frivolously. You're in a space of consciously making choices in your spending that then feel good to you and hopefully feels good to the environment, because that's something that is really important to me right now. It's like, what am I purchasing that I believe in? Especially companies right now. Like, I've been doing a lot of research with companies and how, like, because I was a business major, so how they use their products, what do they do in their companies. It just is a really good way to connect back to the earth, because, you know, a lot of these companies are not practicing ethical things. They're doing things that are actually bad, but they're everyday goods for us. And now I've like switched different companies because other people offer things that actually is like sustainable and ethically sound. You know, they're not using children in China or whatever, you know. So we want to be in this foundational place of having the money and now using it to create the world that we desire to see. Okay. And this is just important for me because now we're now connected to the money. We're having a relationship. We're having a connection to the earth. And we're having this ability to have with our root chakra. Does anyone have questions? Does anyone do a money ritual already? No. So this is going to be good. And notice when you hold money, like, are you afraid of it? Like, begin to like understand like what this relationship with money is. And then when you go to the store, do you just go and buy like Procter and Gamble products, you know, or are you not looking at labels? Are you understanding what labels are? This is form. These are things that people created, but some of them have cheated here and there and like putting a lot of poisons in our food and products. And that's what we give to our bodies. And that's no fun, right? We're creating a foundation off of that. So this is a really good piece to become very conscious and aware of how you're using your money, having a relationship with it, and allowing yourself to enjoy it.
I do have a question.
Sure.
So you're talking cash on hand, but what about like cards? Like, I only have cards and a checkbook.
Yep, you can bless your cards, you know, take it out of your wallet and put it on there and just allow yourself. And sometimes that has saved me because I went to the store and I'm like, I'm going to buy this and that. And I'm like, oh, don't have my cards. And that's a good thing because I should not be buying this and that, right? Like, this has just been used too easily and too frequently without acknowledgement of using it. So lay it on the altar and say, thank you for this way of exchanging for goods and services. Otherwise, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble.
Awesome. Thank you, Candace. I love that money ritual. And I'm going to just share a quick blessing too that I do when I spend money, because one of the things I had to reprogram was my mom, whenever, no matter how much money she had, whenever we went she was a terrible spender. So whenever we went to the grocery store or to a store, she would swipe her card and she would say, oh shit, I hope that goes through. And I remember as a kid, like being so nervous about asking for food. And was I hurting my mom's bank account by putting this in the cart? And why was she so stressed every time we bought food? And I found myself doing that as an adult. I could have thousands of dollars and be wondering if my card's going to go through, right? So what I started to do was, as I did swipe my card, I would say a quick prayer. And I literally do this in front of the teller, and I don't give a shit what anybody says. I pause before I swipe my card, and I just say, please bless that this money goes out into the pockets of those who need it, and bless that it comes tenfold back to me as it makes little money babies. And I just imagine my money coming back into my pocket tenfold as I send it out. And it feels really, really good to me to spend money now. And it also brings the intentionality behind the cents that I spend. So like Candace said, it's not just like charge, charge, charge. It's like really thinking about what you're putting out into the world. So now we're going to get into the mentality of wealth consciousness. And wealth consciousness is really the way that you think about money. It is a consciousness of abundance that recognizes that you deserve wealth and financial rewards in your life for simply being you. It's telling you that wealth and luxury is your birthright, that you don't have to do anything to obtain it other than open your arms to receive it. It's one of those fundamental laws of the universe that if you don't think you deserve something, you're probably not going to get it. So one of my favorite wealth consciousness books is A Pocket Full of Money. And Candace and I will put a link to that book in your homework. It's really cool about understanding the metaphysical properties of money and that there is an abundance of it, which is exactly what wealth consciousness is focusing on the abundance. It's a complete 180 from poverty consciousness, which focuses on lack and the fact that one's needs are never met. And this is a belief system that's the fundamental reason that most people don't accumulate wealth, because when they do get money, they act like they will never get it again and they spend it all at one time rather than just being with it. And so it's this really fear-based relationship around money. On the other hand, wealth consciousness is when you know that there is abundance of everything, right? So you're not in competition with other people. There's enough money for Candace to have all the money in the world she wants, and that doesn't take any money away from me. And I had a lot of experience with poverty consciousness as an educator and school teacher because I was around poverty all the time. And I was this bleeding heart history major who thought that if I had, it meant other people didn't. And it pained me to have money. No matter how much money I made, I gave it away because I felt like I had to help other people. But the truth is that the more I have, the more I can give, right? The more that I accumulate, the more I can shine and put myself out there for the world. Me having nothing isn't going to do anything but cause myself suffering. So if you condone people with a lot of money, condemn them, and you're just like, no, greed, money is bad, people with money are bad, corporations and consumerism is bad, you're probably going to be broke for a long time, because you condemning others that have money, you're condemning that money for yourself as well. So it's important to start seeing money as what it truly is, which is an energy, the energy that you are made of and the energy that I am made of, which is pure love. And when you give money, exchange money, you're exchanging energy, right? Candace and I are here giving our energy to you as a group. And in exchange, you're giving us energy in the form of payment, right? It's a fair energetic exchange. You're giving to us, we're giving to you, right? And it accumulates and it goes around. And it doesn't always have to be an exchange like this, right? It could be maybe somebody gave me this beautiful gift, and I, in turn, at some point in my own calling, give somebody else a beautiful gift and pay it forward, right? That's a fair energy exchange too. It doesn't always have to be simultaneous with the person who gives to you. We're looking for an equal exchange of value. So maybe you giving them a smile was your fair energy exchange to them, okay? So I want you to stop thinking about money as this object that you possess and more of this energy that has a relationship with you, and that there is no limit on how much there is out there. I mean, think about it. The government just pulled $3 trillion out of its ass. Where did that come from? Right? And it's like that with everything. There is, in a happy pocket full of money, it says this, but there is only 0.03% of the world's money in physical cash. That cash Candace was holding up, that's not real money. That's the tangible form of it, right? And so we think that it's so limited because if there was as much cash on this earth as there was, as far as what banks and things say there is in the internet and the electronic system, there would be more cash covering the earth than there was land. We wouldn't be able to walk. So it's not about what you see in front of you, right? There's an abundance of everything all around us, and an abundance of air to breathe, and abundance of chickens to eat, an abundance of grass on the ground, right? There's abundance everywhere. And when you start to see that abundance and feel it, you notice it everywhere. When Candace and I were driving around Hawaii like 3.5 years ago, we were leaving our retreat. We were so focused on abundance. And dude, we saw hundreds of chickens and goats and sea creatures. And it was so funny because we started saying like, oh my God, there's abundance of that. And then we turn around in the car and there's literally like a ton of chickens just on the road in front of us. And it's like everything we saw, there were so many of that day because we were focusing on how much the world has to give. And what you focus on is what shows up in your life, right? So the trickiest part is training your brain to think about this systematically and consciously. So it's time to start being aware of the language you use. And my rule of thumb is only speak about what you want, okay? Everybody repeat that out loud. Only speak about what you want. So let me tell you what that means. If I want to have an abundance of money in my life, do I say I want to be debt free? No, because I'm saying I want debt, right? So I'm not going to speak about debt because I don't want debt. Even though I'm saying I want to be debt free, I'm speaking about debt. Do you see what that means? I only speak about what I want. Means we're talking about the positive outcome, and literally anything can be shifted. Another trick that you can use when you're talking to maybe kids or family members and maybe you physically don't have the funds at the moment, instead of saying I can't afford this, we say I'm choosing to spend my money elsewhere. Because that's very true. When you can't afford something, it's because you chose to spend your money elsewhere, correct? So we really are working on our language right now, because what we speak about, what we think about is what comes to us. And when we do have a negative or lacking thought, we don't push it away, because we're not trying to trick our brains. Our brains know if we're like sitting here like, I'm a billionaire, and you have negative $100 in the brain, your body's going to feel some type of way, right? It's going to feel like you're lying to it. So we're speaking about what we want. And when the lack and the fear do come up, we're staying present with it. And that's when you reach out to Candace or I, or your accountability partner, and you say, having a lot of fear-based thoughts around money, this is the thought that's coming up, and you let yourself feel it and you process through it and you rewrite the story, right? So like I did with the credit card, I notice I get scared every time I go grocery shopping. From now on, when I swipe my card, I want to feel full of life. I want to feel like I'm blessing other people, and I want to know my money's coming back to me. So I rewrote a new story for myself, and I lived that story after I honored the feelings that came from my mom. Does that process make sense to all of you? Cool. I know that was a lot. So if you have any questions, let me know. Anything coming up for you guys?
Got a thumbs up from Bria.
The debt affirmation is that instead of saying I am debt free, it's I have an abundance of money in my life, or I am financially free, or it's just a positive connotation of the negative, if that makes sense. Cool. Awesome. This week's going to be so fun, building altars, checking out our pillars, and creating some amazing money practices in our lives.
So cool. We are looking at form, the matter that matters in our life. So, and then like a lot of you that are doing the cleaning, Berger, it's like release that which is not belonging in your life and let it go. We don't want that energy to soak into our bones as we live there or breathe there. Awesome. You guys are amazing. We will be seeing you again soon. I believe it's Tuesday. So reach out if you haven't booked your calls. The links are at the bottom of the email. Turn in homework, and if you do, make sure you do a little email saying you turned in homework so we know. And I believe that's it. And oh, don't forget, we do have a solutions Q&A call. It's bi-weekly. You have access to that as well. It's with a whole group of people where we just, take questions. If you're going through it, 1 week and you're like, I need to get on this call, get on the call. So important. Okay. Awesome.
All right. Yes, Astra, I'm gonna actually write it down in the homework so that you guys have it right on the homework. So don't worry about that. And any other questions before we leave? Are you guys doing okay with accountability partners? Does anyone have questions about the calls or anything else? Cool. And just a reminder, Debbie, you are with Deborah and Courtney until July. So those are your two partners, so you can get connected to them. Awesome. Cool, cool.
Yay. Well, if you want to unmute and just say bye-bye. We'd love to hear your voice.
Bye.
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 Guys,
Bye, everyone.
Good weekend.
have a great weekend.
Yeah, see you later.